Welcome to episode 551 of the Grit2Greatness Endurance podcast. We are your hosts, coaches Rich Soares and Kristin Overton, and we are on a mission to help endurance athletes like you train smarter, race stronger, and build the grit it takes to achieve greatness. Today, we are joined by our very own Grit2Greatness coach, Lauren Brown, who is fresh off of her first full Ironman finish. She's an Iron Man. She's an Iron Woman. This is not a race cap filled with a bunch of statistics. This is an authentic story of what it feels like to stand on the start line of a lifetime dream, battle through the highs and the lows and the fears and the insecurity, all those things that are going to hit you, and do a 140.6-mile journey. And by the way, do it smiling all the way from wire to wire and hear every word of "You are an Ironman."
This is so exciting. So what we're doing tonight is just, giving you an episode that gives you an authentic and unfiltered look at the first time Ironman experience through the eyes of our very own coach, Lauren. So we're going to explore the months and years of preparation, the emotional roller coaster leading into race day. It's always a crazy roller coaster. Lessons learned during training and racing, what surprised Lauren most during the events, how ordinary athletes can achieve extraordinary goals through consistency and grit. So, and also, why that finish line is only part of the transformation. The finish line is just only a very small part of the whole journey. So we will walk away inspired, and we're going to inspire you to pursue your own endurance goals, regardless of where they are on your athletic journey. So here we go, Lauren. So before we dive in, I know you're just chomping the bit. I can't wait to hear your story, particularly because I was there, but I never really got to talk to you post race. Yeah. So I'm super excited about this. So we're going to give a few athlete shout outs from last weekend as well as this weekend. Rich, I'll let you shout out for last weekend.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And why don't we just go ahead and start with our guest of honor here? All right. We had Coach Lauren Brown and Lindsay Holmes finish Ironman. Oh, sorry. And Lucy Zate.
Also Lucy's also first time. Yep.
That's amazing. So the three amigos at Lake Placid.
The 3 L's, yes.
Love it. And get this, we had two people, Chris Shothan and Kevin Cole, doing Ironman 70.3 Oregon in Salem. And I actually thought we had one other too, potentially. Didn't we?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe that's it. Plus, we had two athletes racing Tri-Boulder sprint. Tri-Boulder, one doing the sprint, Alice, and Greg doing the Olympic. We had Super Tri New Jersey, Veron did Super Tri New Jersey State Sprint. Denise Hiller, Vermont, 100K. And Jessica Kress, the Ironman 70.3 Ohio, and Kevin Bauer, Bar Camp Trail Run. Wow.
Busy weekend last weekend.
Yeah. Lots of representation.
That's right. And it's just going to keep rolling because we have a ton of athletes racing this coming weekend. So we have a million G2G athletes racing Calgary 70.3. So I'm going to name them all off. They're all up in Canada getting ready. So there's N. McKay. There's Marche, right?
Yep, Marche. Yep,
Marche. Juliette Gavea, Carrie Rose, Alyssa Monk, Haley Harris. I think I hit them all for Calgary. So a couple other, we have two racers in doing 70.3 Maine in Augusta, Karma Lundy and Ann Thompson, one of our Limitless athletes. And then last but not least, we have Aaron Johnson doing Chicago Lakes Olympic Tri. So good luck to all you guys. You're gonna have a great day.
That's awesome. Yeah, all of those ladies doing Calgary are all of our are all Limitless.
They are all Limitless. Okay.
Yep.
That's so awesome.
And they're training together. Some of them are training together. Yeah. So excited. Listen, hey, listen, be a part of this community. It is such a blast. You don't need to be coached to be a part of it either. If you're looking for support, I mean, these ladies are not all these ladies or all of these folks are coached. So if you're looking for support, inspiration, and a group of athletes who truly understand what it takes to balance life, work, endurance, sports, and you want to, have have time with other people outside of work. We just had an amazing webinar where we, had, you know, the product owner for the TriDot application come and, Ken Pursuti come over and do a demo for us to help people know how to use the new app. There's all sorts of great stuff happening here. Come check us out. There's a link here in the show notes, or just come visit us at our community page at Grit2Greatnessendurance.com. All right.
Awesome.
Coach Gayo, back to you.
We ready, Lauren?
I'm ready.
All right, let's fire away here. So we're just gonna like shoot a bunch of questions at you, and we'll see what comes out. All right.
That's good.
All right. So really, what were you feeling when you crossed that finish line? What does it really feel like to complete your first Ironman? And what do you take away from that and you give back to aspiring Ironman athletes? So what should they know before they begin their journey?
Crossing the finish line, I mean, you saw me. I was definitely smiling from ear to ear. I probably finished, people probably looked at me like, what the heck? Why is she smiling so hard and running so fast? Because I just was like dashing down there. I honestly thought that I was going to cry when I crossed the finish line. And I think I had about like a half a second of like that emotion where I felt like I wanted to cry when I heard them say, Lauren Brown, you are an Ironman. And then right after he followed up with, and look at that smile. And I just was like, damn freaking right. I am so freaking happy. So crossing the finish line, it was as good as I could have hoped for, like mentally, physically. And I think the other part of the question was, what would I tell people who were like aspiring to do this?
Yeah.
Just do it. I mean, I think it's if you have for anything, right? I would say this, whether it was an Ironman or doing your first sprint or doing a 5K, I don't care. Like if you have an itch and a desire to do something, I believe wholeheartedly that if I can do something, anybody can do it, because there's nothing extra special. We're all special, but that if you have a desire to do something and you're willing to say yes to the right things and no to the things that you should be saying no to, I think like go for it.
Yeah. It all starts with that decision, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to do this. Let me sign up. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Even though it's scary. Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to press on that a little bit, La. All right. So, by the way, we all call her La behind the scenes here, just so you didn't know. So, Coach Lauren, I'm going to press on that a little bit. It's an easy thing to say, right? Yeah, just do it, right?
Yeah.
Go back, to before you made this decision.
Mm-hmm.
Really go back. What triggered it? Like, what was like, okay, this is something I am going to say yes to.
So it's funny. I feel like my journey has always been, this from when we first started talking, when I first came on to G2G, where, I started with duathlon because I was scared to do triathlon. And I only did 1 year in duathlon. And my reason for the quick switch was I said I felt like all the fun was on the other side of my fear. And it was like, I am somebody who followed a very, I'm going to say practical journey. Not that, I mean, everyone has their own journey, but I literally did duathlon. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to do a sprint. And I was pretty okay at it. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to do an Olympic. COVID happened. I did an Olympic by myself. Like I just mapped one out. And then that next year I did Olympic. I did that for like another 2 years. And then I was like, you know what? I think I want to try the 70.3 because I like doing half marathons. And I feel like, but I was always, if you asked me when I did a sprint, I was like, oh, I would never do an Olympic. And then when I was doing Olympics, I was like, oh, I would never do a 70.3. And then I was like, there's no way in hell I want to do a full Ironman. And then it was like, I did, probably like 4 70.3s, and then I did world championships in Marbella. And Marbella was really tough. It was a tough course for a lot of reasons. And I just was like, you know what? I think I'm ready to take that next jump. So I like baby step my way, where I was always like, I'm a little scared. Do it because you're scared. I'm a little scared. Do it because you're scared. And I think I just got to that point where I was definitely not comfortable at a 70.3. I mean, 70.3s are absolutely challenging, like 100%. But where I was getting to the point where I felt like I still have nerves about me at a 70.3, but I'm ready to feel those like oh shit nerves. And so for me, that was the Ironman decision of, I think I'm ready to like to scare myself again.
So you're like thinking all this, like, oh, Iron Man's super scary. It's so long, whatever. And then you go and choose Lake Placid, which is like one of the hardest Ironmans out there. Like, what was your thought process for that?
So I know it's funny. I was actually, it was my last ocean swim before going to Marbella. And so it was freezing in New Jersey. And I was talking to one of the guys that I know from the Tri Club here. And I was like, I'm kind of starting to really think that I'm going to do an Ironman next year. And at the time I was like, thinking about Texas, just because I was like, I knew some people who had done Texas, and I was like, well, it's like flat and it's warm, and I haven't been there, definitely not to race at least. And I was talking to him, and I said, and then I was also thinking about Lake Placid, because it's like iconic to me. Like I feel like when I first started, even in triathlon, and some of the first people that I started following who were local athletes would post Lake Placid. And to me, it was like, that was like, obviously other than like on to Kona, it was like in the Northeast, that was like the beast. Right. And he was like, you got to do Lake Placid. And I was like, and I just figured that would be the one. And, after doing, Marbella, I don't know if I was a little bit more scared about it because of of my inability to descend, as strong as I can climb. But yeah, so that was my decision.
So awesome. I did the same thing, Lauren, who, it was my first. And I'm like,
And
yeah,
yours was
why
a
not
little
Lake
bit
Placid, right?
scarier. Yeah,
You
and
guys are crazy.
yours was a little bit scarier back in the day because it was a while back.
It was a
Oh,
little while
mass
back. Yeah.
starts. Mass
Mass
starts.
start. Yeah.
Yep. I
That
remember the
swim
good old
was,
days.
yeah. Oof. I every time I go back up to Lake Placid, I have flashbacks of the washing machine.
Oh,
Yeah.
My,
Yeah.
my
It's
last
amazing.
Ironman was the last one, was the only one that I ever did that was a rolling wave.
Oh,
yeah,
wow. Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So great.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you did this thing, you've been building up to it, you signed up for it. And, we all know that nobody gets through an Ironman, on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always the people around you that help push you and help get you through that training and get you to the finish line. Who are those people that played the biggest role in supporting your journey, and how did they help you kind of stay committed to that goal and getting you there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Coach K, Kurt Madden, is my coach, so he dealt with me being a head case from time to time, because even when I had like listen, I had very minor setbacks, but for me, I just wanted to feel as healthy and as strong as possible. So when I was dealing with my knees being cranky on me and not being able to run like I wanted to run, he definitely helped me like stay off that like downward spiral of, worrying that this wasn't going to actually happen. You guys definitely played a role, having a support system of people that could understand why I may felt like I definitely maybe beat myself up a little bit, feeling like I was behind the mark on other areas of my life because of training. So having friends that are in the triathlon community that I can like lean on to know that it's okay that for this little period of time, some other things are going to take a little bit of a back seat. So for me, like, you guys were amazing. Obviously, KO welcomed me to the training camp with her athletes, which was hands down like the best thing I could have done for my entire prep. And I got to say my family too, like for them to deal with me and for them to actually do all of the planning for our trip to get there was huge for me, because that took a lot of stress off my plate. Like, I didn't have to do anything. I had to train. I had to train and show up and get there. But like logistically, they did a lot of the planning for the trip. So, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of people, and I feel if anybody played a role, and I don't say their name, I mean, but I had a lot of training partners along the way too that, helped me show up. So
we forgot to have the Academy Awards hook music playing,
Oh, can you hear the
I'm just
music
kidding.
in my background?
No, I'm
Okay,
kidding.
'cause I'm like,
You're thanking everybody. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody.
yeah, I know. And if you could hear, I live above a bar and there's like a band playing. So if you guys do start to hear some like music and screaming, it's the band downstairs. So
more cowbell. We need more cowbell.
More cowbell. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question for a coach, because like you've coached people through this process. There's a bit of a, if you've never done a distance, there's a, little bit of a, call it trust fall here, that, this is the process is going to get me there. You've never done an Ironman before. You were going through this process, even though you knew from a coach's perspective that, oh yeah, if I trust the process, this will be fine. Talk about, like, did the athlete that's never done this before, was there any of that doubt that you had to work through? And if you had conversations with your coach or with Coach K, talk about that.
I think the part of the race that I was most concerned about, even though realistically, if you look at the three legs of a triathlon, the run has always been my strongest out of the three. Like in every race, my dot score, it's always where I am the strongest. But because my knees were so cranky starting like in January, we were very, like, I probably had almost like a 8 to 10 week period where I barely ran. And so that concerned me at the start of when I was like, oh shoot, I have an Ironman on the calendar. I better be able to run. And then my longest run, and also mind you, this was also my first marathon. So I've never run a marathon prior to doing Lake Placid. And so as we were building on my run, my longest run was 16 and a half miles about. And yeah, so, and Coach K was like, like Kat Matthews, she doesn't run more than like X amount of miles and she's okay to run a marathon. Like, you just don't feel like you need to run 20, 22 miles to be able to complete the marathon. And so for me going into it, I was like, and I knew going into it from other people's feedback was like, mile 16, mile 18. And I was like, well, shoot, I've only ran 16 and a half. So I've never even got past that part in my training. So I was definitely during the race thinking like, okay, like you have to hold back. Like, and that was one thing that actually Lindsay, one of KO's athletes, said when we were at training camp. She's like, trust me, like run slower than you think you need to run. And so I would say like, I had to really trust the process that my bike training, my run training would also carry me through, and that 16 and a half miles of running would be enough that I could still complete the marathon at the end of the Ironman. And I did.
Yeah, that's a tough one. That 16-mile thing. You're like, there's another 10 miles of the run that I'm not covering here, folks. Like, is that going to really work?
Yeah. So I was but once I got to that point during the race, I was like, dude, if I have to walk 10 miles, I'm doing it. So
dude,
whatever, we're there.
You finished, you were running down that finish chute like you stole something from the guy behind you. I mean, like you were running with a TV or something.
The guy behind me was probably like, this bitch.
Rich, I gotta tell you, she was like a blur going down the finish chute. Like Smiling I was there, blur. And then all of a sudden, like she's like, I'm like, holy crap, she's sprinting, and she's like, yeah, and the teeth, right? Exactly, like the hugest smile on the face. It was just like, but every time I saw her on the run course too, it was and we were kind of situated in a spot most of the time where she's running up a hill to get to where we were, and every time she just like motoring up that hill, big smile on the face, giving high fives. Awesome.
I high-fived everybody.
As you should. You should, for sure.
That's great.
So great. you kind of talk about that run and the knee issues and that kind of thing. So, I think every athlete going through Ironman training has some sort of setback, whether it's
Mhm.
illness, injury, just stress, work,
Yep.
all those things. What were some of the biggest obstacles, maybe, anything other than your knee, and how did you kind of work through all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I would say physically, my knee was definitely the worst of it in terms of like having to just navigate not injuring myself because I'm the type of person where, again, like I want to feel as good as possible. So I'm not trying to like push through something and hurt myself more. So I think that, which ended up translating a little bit to mentally, because again, like there were some days where I was like just crying to Coach K because I was like, I just want to run. And so I was like upset there. And then, I mean, other obstacles I would say, I think most people face is just the reality that like, if you're saying yes to something, you have to say no to other things. And so it's like, you know, do I really, how much do I care about going out versus getting up at, 4:30 so I can meet my biking buddy to go for a bike ride at 5 a.m. on a Saturday to beat the traffic by the shore. Right. So I would say just being okay with that side of things, being okay with reading a book and calling it a night at like 8:30 on a Friday and a Saturday, and just trying to stay as organized as possible. I think that for me was like, so I didn't have obstacles like major travel or anything like that. Not that I can remember anyway. It's a little bit of a blur, but yeah, I think for me it was the typical things that you can expect, making sure that the pool schedule is working for me, so really I think I was quite fortunate. I say like out of all the things that could go wrong, I was able to navigate, minimal running and, making up for it where I needed to. So as far as prep goes, that would be the main things.
There's so many
So,
logistics, and
yeah.
it gets to be kind of stressful just with like the time management alone, right?
That's really what it was. I mean, and then just for it being my first time, again, I'm lucky that I have you guys who have done between you both many, Ironman races and different types of races. Coach K, Lake Placid was his 55th Ironman. So like I was very fortunate that I had a lot of borrowed knowledge from other people. So I didn't feel like I was on Google trying to be like, hey, Claude, what do I need to bring with me to my Ironman, and hoping that Claude had everything right, as opposed to, can I talk to coaches who have been doing this for a really long time that I have in my corner and get the right information? So I definitely had a huge benefit because of the borrowed experience that I got from other people.
So critical. Yeah. It's like take all of those resources and use them to the best of your ability.
Yeah, because you know what the reality is like, not to like harp on the whole like AI thing, is like they AI didn't actually go through races. So like to talk to my coach or talk to you guys and people who've actually done it and have experienced things that went wrong or went right, and to be like that is so invaluable because it's legit things that you might not anticipate. Even, I mean, thank God Coach K told me to say, I forgot my arm warmers, or I like misplaced them in my move. And I was like, I'm not going to need arm warmers anyway. And Coach K was like, you should buy some arm warmers. I was like, you know what? Let me just buy them. And I was like, thank God I had them on, because I've never been more cold in my entire life, is what I felt like for that first like 50 miles on the bike. So like, again, like I didn't have to do all the growing pains.
Yeah.
So
Well,
good.
and you have experience as a coach, so you don't discount your own experience here, right?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
brought some of that, but yeah, the wisdom of Coach K, right? I mean, 55 Ironman races. I think the guy knows the thing or two and might
Yeah,
have
you
a
can't you
piece of
can't beat
advice or
that
two.
knowledge for sure.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, you go through the same, let's call it, the same Ironman making process as the rest of us do. You did the race rehearsals. Talk about, was there anything that either happened during those race rehearsals that, man, you're like, I am so glad I figured that out before the race, or something that you drew on in the race that happened in the race rehearsal that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that.
So I was very fortunate because of, again, another great reason why I did Lake Placid was because of proximity to where I live, but then also Coach KO and her athletes were going to be up there training. So for my last race rehearsal 2 weeks before Lake Placid, I was up there actually doing a 100-mile bike ride. We did an hour and 45-minute run. We did 2 loops in Mirror Lake. So that was like, I mean, and even this is something that seems like duh, because we talk about this all the time when it comes to hydration. But so Lucy, who is also crushed her first Ironman at Lake Placid as well, and I have to give her a shout out for probably she and I probably were like a close first and second for the most smiles on the course. So I got to shout her out for that too, because
absolutely.
I saw her. We were passing each other, crossing paths on the run, and we stopped and hugged each other. And I was like, this was like the best moment of the run. It was great. But when we did the bike, Lucy was struggling with, because she didn't have plain water with her. And I didn't really have plain water either. And it wasn't really impacting me at that moment. But when KO came around like an angel in her Jeep, she had just plain water. And I chugged that. Like, it was like, you couldn't take the bottle out of my hand, because I was just like, no. I need that. And like Lindsay and I both like drank, but pulling on that on race day at every single aid station, which I feel so bad because we waste so much bottled water. It's terrible. But I was like taking the plain Poland Spring water, drinking whatever I can before the end of the trash zone and tossing it. And so, and I think that definitely helped my hydration strategy, because I had electrolytes and carbs in my front and my rear bottle. And I was just relying on the aid stations for the plain water, which, again, it was one of those things that I was like, I'm happy that came up in the race rehearsal, because it just wasn't so front of my mind.
Yeah. You just never
Way to
know
lead that
what's
camp,
gonna...
KO.
Oh,
Nice camp.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's a blast. Second year that we've done it, and I'm looking forward to next year already, because it was so much fun.
I'm not even going to do Lake Placid next year, but I think I might just come because it's fun.
You absolutely should. That's what I did, right? I was there and just like had a blast. So
yeah,
you can be part of the water duty next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being on the course is invaluable. You know, not everybody can do it, obviously, but if you get the chance or get something that's close, certainly makes a big difference. But yeah, so awesome.
For sure.
So we're gonna go dark a little bit. So we're thinking about how, all the fun, happy things and the smiles and that sort of thing. But did you have like a dark moment, or what was the toughest point in the race that you really just had to draw, mentally and dig deep to say, you know what, this is going to be okay. I'm just going to keep moving forward and I'm going to finish this thing.
So I feel like I'm almost not lucky, but my toughest part was the bike. So I'm kind of happy that was tough and not the run, because I always say it's like how you finish is kind of how you really, really remember the day. And the bike, like I said, I get cold pretty easily, and it was probably like upper 40s, low 50s on the bike, and going down the Keene descent, I was like shaking, shivering, and teeth chattering, where I felt like I was going to bite my tongue off because I was so cold, where I was like, I kept trying to be like, breathe, calm down. Like you're being dramatic, Lauren. like you can't be that cold. But it was like the sun wasn't out yet. And then the other thing on the bike that was kind of stressing me out quite a bit was that I brought my bike to Play Try, and I'm not knocking them, so I just want to say that, but I was having issues with my bike shifting from big to small and small to big front chainring. So every time, and I noticed this was even happening at right before I dropped off my bike, where it was it wasn't shifting to, it was like the pedals were stopping and getting stuck, and it would take a second and then it would shift, and the chain wasn't going from the small to the big chain ring. So it was really stressful for me. Like the second time going to the Keen descent, it was like I was trying to get into my big gear and it wasn't catching. And then I was like downshifting and then trying to upshift. And I literally was like, please God, please Uncle Alan, like get this chain to shift into the big ring, because I do not want to go down Keen in my small ring. And so knowing that it was like, I felt like every time I was having that big shift, my pedals were getting stuck. And having to constantly like shift down, shift up, trying to get it to catch was like frustrating and stressful. And for me, if you know me, the descents and the bike, and also I'm a little bit on the smaller side, and the wind at one point on the bike, I was just getting blown into the side that was with oncoming traffic, and I was like off my aero bars, trying to lean into the wind, trying to steer it back, and I like could not get my bike to move over. So I wouldn't say I was like in a dark place, but I was in a scared place. I was definitely the most stressed on the bike. But I also had moments on the bike where I was like cruising and I felt great and I was talking to people, and but that was my hardest for sure.
Were you having flashbacks from Marbella?
A little bit going the first time down the Keen descent, because I like felt like, because it was windy and I was so cold that I was shaking my bike. So, and it was like, and yeah, when it catches you for a second, it's unsettling. It is unsettling.
Yeah, it is for sure. Yeah.
Way to keep a cool head in the cool weather.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask just one more question. And then, because I'm just, keeping an eye on the time here. And my next question was too similar to KO's anyway. So here's my question. We just talked about the tough times. Tell us about, like, we often like to celebrate our daily wins. What are the little wins that you encountered along the way? What were the moments that you're like, that's a win. That was a success. That felt great.
Yeah. Well, I got to say the swim start is freaking awesome. So it's like, 2,600 athletes, and I was like high as a kite. I was like smiling the whole freaking time, but like all of a sudden they have everyone like dum dum psh, dum dum psh, and all the athletes are standing there like clapping their hands above their head with the beat of the music, and like that to me, I was like looking around at everyone. I was like, I must look so ridiculous because I have just such I'm just cheesing hard right now. And so I felt like so excited to go into the water. And when I got out of the first lap, so my goal, I was like, RaceX had me at an hour 17 for the swim. And in my mind, I was like, hour 20, I'll be happy. And I got out of the first loop in 35 minutes. And I was like, oh, dang, that was like 5 minutes faster than I was expecting. And I was like, we'll see how the second loop goes. And I finished the swim in an hour 10. So I finished 7 minutes faster than RaceX and 10 minutes faster than I was projecting. And then I saw my family, I saw KO and the crew there. And I was like, oh my God, this was a really freaking awesome start to the day. Like I'm feeling great. And then I saw Coach Carrie, she was in the tent at T1. So she was helping me get situated. So that was like a really great start. And then again, the bike, I struggled, but I had a lot of fun on the bike. And then finally, like at the last, like coming into T2, I saw my family. So I didn't get to see them the whole bike ride. So seeing them and them knowing that I was like safe off the bike, because I know they get worried like about that, was like an amazing feeling. And really, like every time I saw KO and like everyone that she was with, and every time I saw my mom and my sisters and my niece and nephews and everyone that was there, I was like, I felt so great. And this is like, I'm so stupid. I forgot that my name was on my name tag. And I was like, at first I was like, I know so many people here, and I don't even know.
So many people know me. I'm famous.
And everyone was like, go, Lauren. I was like, hey, I was like clapping for myself. And then there was a moment, this is like a little bit, you can call this a dark moment or not a dark moment, but it was right around mile 20 on the run, and I was coming up to another athlete, and I was like good job. Like, we're almost there. And as she saw me, she was like, I was like a little bit ahead of her. She's like, you were my angel. And so of course I stopped and I was like, slow down. And we were like talking. And she was like, I saw you at the swim start. She said, my nephew passed away and your bib number, that's his angel numbers for me. And she said, and green is his color. And so she was like, I know that he's with me and you're like my angel. And I was like I'll like, if I allow myself, I would cry right now. But it was one of those moments where you're like, you might have had moments of like questioning, why the hell am I doing this? Or like, this sucks and I'm in pain. And you're like, that's why I'm doing it, because that woman needed to see me on the course. And like, that to me was one of those moments where I'm like, man, this sport has so many beautiful moments, and you have to just like stop and be thankful for the role that you could play in somebody else's journey as well. So for me, that was like a really good moment.
That's
and then
amazing.
obviously crossing the finish line, but yeah.
I wanted to like show the goosebumps on my arm as you were describing that. Wow. Can you pull out the medal? Can you show the medal? Like, for the people that are going to be watching our podcast on YouTube, can you show us the medal?
Can.
And we'll give it a verbal. Let's do this. Wow. Let's get a scale thing. Can you put this in your palm? Can you put your palm behind that so we can see? Holy, she can't even palm the thing. It's that big,
and I actually
folks.
have pretty big hands for a small person.
Let's put that next to your shoes. Can we put that next to a shoe?
Next to my head.
Yeah. It's legit. It's a legit medal. That's for sure.
That's pretty big.
My
it's a
niece
dinner
was
plate.
like, she's like, that's the best medal you've gotten. I'm like, well, better be. That was the longest time I've ever been on a freaking race course, man. Yeah.
Oh, so Lauren, when you got that medal around your neck and they announced your name and said, Lauren Brown, you are an Ironman, like, what was that feeling like? What does that achievement mean to you personally? And, how is it, changing you moving forward? Like, how did this experience change you?
I mean, it's like the power of belief, right? And gratitude. I mean, I know, and I guess the gratitude doesn't change, but it like reinforces it, because I would say, like, I went through so many names in my head of people I was thankful for on that course. Like, I mean, I did this in Marbella too, because I was like, please God protect me. But like, I'm like, it makes you one. And I know it's like so cliche, because the saying is anything is possible, but like, it really is. And the one thing that kind of came up for me when I was doing a bike ride not too long ago, but then also in this race, is like, the good times pass just as quickly as the bad times pass. And so it's like, you have to know the bad times are going to pass, but you also have to know that the good times are too. So like, enjoy that, right? Like, on the course, when you're feeling good, like, soak that up. When you're feeling like shit, it's going to pass. And I always say racing and life always mirror each other. And it's like, for me, I'm like, that's a reminder of like, you're going to have shitty times. It is inevitable on race day and in life that you are going to have some shitty moments where you question what the hell you're doing, why you're doing it, what did you do wrong in life to deserve this, right? But that passes. And again, so do the good times, unfortunately, and they slip away too. So you just want to be present. And that was like, again, one of those reminders of like, man, all the work that went into it, and it was like, it's freaking done. And so enjoy the journey, because that's the longest part of it. The end result is so short.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's over. It's over it's like over in a blink. Yeah.
It's a memory now. It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. Well, listen, why don't we do this? Why don't we do a quick lightning round to wrap things up? I'll start. I'll give you 3 quick things, La, and then I'm going to kick it to KO. She's going to give you 3. All right. You ready?
All right.
Favorite race sign of the day?
Oh my gosh. Favorite race sign of the day. Oh my God. There was one, I can't even remember what it was, but it was like sexual and I was dying laughing. Crap. So now I wish I really put that in my memory. I'll just say, I always love the power-ups. I'm always happy with a power-up.
That's great. Yeah. For some reason, those, sweaty people are sexy or something like,
Yeah.
or they're wearing the sign and it doesn't look like they have anything up, anything on. Cause like
Yeah.
we got
There was
bare
like something
feet.
about like his wife's threesome or something like that. But
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know.
My wife's, yeah.
I fully
My
support my
husband
wife's
approves of my
threesomes or
threesome.
something.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. All right. Favorite aid station or aid station, if they were themed, or favorite aid station item, you pick.
I'll say my favorite aid station item that came as like a surprise when I needed it was pickle juice, carbonated pickle juice.
Nice.
Yeah. I was like, it was at the
Okay.
tail end and I was like, I didn't know I needed that. That was amazing. Like,
All right. Yeah. You ready? Last one. M. Inc. or no?
No.
No. Okay. All right. There you have it.
There we go.
We're keeping it clean, folks. All right.
Okay. This might be hard, but describe your first Ironman in one word.
Perfect.
Love it. Love it. You got the mic, right? All right. What lesson will stay with you forever?
I'm going to go back to the woman that I saw and just know that you're always where you're supposed to be.
Love that. Love that. All right. What would you tell the version of yourself standing at the start line that morning?
You're going to freaking crush it.
Yeah, I love it.
Awesome.
I love it.
All right. My goodness. It has been so amazing to watch you go through this journey. We are so proud of you. Congratulations. I'm going to put a burden on you here. So all these people that are listening to the podcast, when we get done with this interview, we always ask, we've got a call to action. So would you tell athletes that are listening to this right now, what's a reason that they should, consider doing something like this and be a part of a community to do it?
Because you deserve it. You deserve it. So I would say, like, one, being a part of a community is going to give you support that you didn't even realize you needed, and do it because you deserve to see what you're capable of. That's it.
Love it. Thank you.
So great. So great. All right. So we're wrapping this thing up. Lauren, thank you so much. Like Rich said, so proud of you. It was I was so happy I was there to cheer you on all day long. I think I needed a recovery week as well as all the athletes racing. So, for everybody out there, this sport is amazing. If you're interested and you want to do more and you need some help, choose your path with Grit2Greatness Endurance. Come join us and join in the fun, join in the learning. Whether you're preparing for your first sprint or tackling, your first Ironman, we can help you with personalized roadmap to get you there. Whether you just need a training plan versus personalized coaching. If you have a coach question, send us a message, connect through our website or engage with the G2G community. And we may feature your question on a future episode. So, we love to hear what you want to know and happy to help you out. So if you do have a question for the show, submit your Ask a Coach questions. Go onto our Grit2Greatness website at Grit2Greatness endurance.com and shoot us a message.
Yeah, drop us a contact. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it is, this is the coach crew right here, right? We really do have an amazing community, and we would love to have you be a part of it. This and every episode of the Grit2Greatness Endurance podcast is brought to you by Vespa Endurance Nutrition. Vespa helps you tap into steady, clean energy so that you stay strong, focused, and in the zone longer. Less sugar, higher performance, faster recovery. There is a link here in the show notes that will automatically apply the 15% to anything in your cart anytime, or you can use the code G2G Vespa 15. That is G, the number 2, G, Vespa, VESPA 15. Thanks for spending time with us today on the Grit2Greatness Endurance podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us and leave us a rating on Apple Podcasts or YouTube. This helps us reach more athletes like you. Stay gritty, train smart, and keep chasing greatness. There's an Ironman in your future. We will see you next week.